Good morning, everybody. Welcome to North Park, welcome to Council District 3, and welcome to what is now really a jewel in our community. And there are going to be folks who will speak far more eloquently and intelligently about how you finance and build and design these kinds of projects. I always like to be here on behalf of the people that I represent to thank everyone who was critical in the creation of this kind of project. It was mentioned that I am a supporter of affordable housing. I am, unabashedly so. These are wonderful complexes that add to neighborhoods, and you can look at this project and know for a fact that this is going to do great things for North Park. Now, how many of you all remember what this used to look like? Do you have any North Park? Yeah, you do. You remember the hole in the ground, the unfinished construction that was here for years, and that were truly a blight and an eyesore. And I think that when we saw Affirmed, the Housing Commission, and others come together to rescue this site, I think anything would have been an improvement. A shack of some kind would have been an improvement. But what we've ended up with, thanks to I think the good folks at Mark Steele and others, is a design that is something that would blend in and be welcomed really in any community. And then you have the added benefit of knowing that families from this community, people who are already living here, who will now have an opportunity to live here in an affordable fashion so they can support their families, their children. I think that that's an win all the way around. And so I want to always start by thanking the people of North Park, a community who has stepped up time and again to welcome affordable housing in their community. And unfortunately, we know that there are other communities that simply just will not do that. And I think our hope is that when you see a high-quality project like City Scene, that you will have more communities that will say, you know what, we want that too. And so I thank North Park for always being wonderful leaders when it comes to this issue. On the way in here just this morning, we drove past a number of other high-quality projects that really illustrate why affordable housing is something that communities can and should embrace. I want to thank the Housing Commission for always taking the lead. Rick Gentry and his team have really stepped up their game when it comes to affordable housing in this community. We seem to go to one of these all the time, Rick, and even in the worst economy with the development industry on its knees, we're still able to bring projects forward, and I think that a lot of that credit is due to Rick. I want to thank Affirmed Housing for being wonderful partners. When Affirmed is involved, we know the community is supported, we know we're going to get good project, and this is yet another example.
Here in North Park, City Scene actually closes out the remainder of a $9.44 million federal grant from the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. This grant, which came from HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, was designed to preserve neighborhoods with a high concentration of foreclosed properties by reducing blight, just as this completed property has done. This NSP grant was made to the City of San Diego, and Mayor Sanders, shortly after my arrival here, bless his heart, gave it almost every dollar to the Housing Commission. And he only had two instructions. Number one was don't screw up. And number two, insofar as possible, make sure that the proceeds were used to support private sector ownership rather than public sector. Because I think that fits in with his vision and also the city's vision of making sure that we've got tax rolls protected, we've got use that's proper, but that we have the public purpose of affordable housing added to it. This property here is a good example. The NSP program made it possible for the Housing Commission to invest in this 31-unit affordable housing complex once a foreclosed condominium project. City Scene will remain affordable for 55 years, and the federal money that came through us to this property include a $5.1 billion loan towards City Scene, with $3.6 million of that from the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, and then supplemented by additional $1.4 million from HUD's Home Investment Partnership Program, the HOME program. HOME allocates grants to state and local governments to create affordable housing for low-income people. I'll point out that in addition to the project we see here, the NSP federal grant has allowed us to create 58 new first-time homeowners in San Diego. This project here, 31 units, closes it out, but you add to that 58 homeowners in town who were not homeowners 3 years ago, and each of the homes was foreclosed prior to the acquisition. This program has been wonderful. And what I'd like to do is point out that the grant money that really undergirds this comes from our partners at the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And we have two representatives with us here today from the Los Angeles branch of HUD, and they are William Velasquez and Chen Wu Choi. And Chen, Bill, I'd like you to stand up and be recognized. We value our federal partners. We thank you for participating with us, and we thank you for being here with us today. Please. I will point out that city scene will be restricted to residents at or below 60% of area median income, which is just over $48,000 annually for a family of 4. I'll also point out that with its rooftop solar panels, city scene also reflects one of our newer and forward-looking priorities, not only at the Housing Commission, but at the city, which is energy sustainability. Thanks to Affirmed Housing, our development partner, city scene has been turned into an asset for North Park, the neighborhood, and also the residents who live here. In closing, I'd also like to thank the Housing Commission's Real Estate Department and call out some folks by name who did the real work to make this happen. Debbie Ruane, Ann Kern, Marco Vicili, Jerry Lola, Joe Correa, and David Allen, all of whom are in Debbie's Real Estate Department, really made this work. Debbie, to you and your folks, thank you. And Nikki, thank you for having us here today.
City Scene is a sterling example of the private and public sector working together to bring a landmark development to a community.
There's a lot of great amenities here at City Scene. We have a bigger laundry room than I'm used to. Nice to get my laundry in and out in one quick swoop, couple of loads at a time. This great barbecue, picnic, outdoor area. We can spend time, outdoors versus trying to make do inside. And overall, we're just really pleased with the opportunity, and we're really thankful to have a newer, bigger apartment. It's not much more costly than the one-bedroom we were living in before, with the mismatch appliances, etc. So we're really grateful, and thank you.